And welcome everyone today. Today we will be discussing Cursor AI and Claude Code as visible on the screen. Upendra just unshared it. Um, Today our host will be Upendra, who will be rejoining in a second. We are here together with Davi, Calvin, and myself, Robert, as well. And the whole theme of this week and in the streams that we'll be doing is a comparison between different tools to build your smart contracts, your applications, your websites, and how do they hold up against each other. So specifically in terms of ease of use, technical capabilities, context awareness, and other features that Upendra will be discussing. And as our host of today, I'll give it to him right now. Upendra, thank you for bringing up this topic and taking us along with it.
Thank you, Robert, and I would like to thank all of the co-hosts uh, for coming and joining here in this live stream. As we already have done a live stream on Cursor WinSub earlier, so it's a kind of you know uh, favorite tool for the developer. And if you talk about Claude is also kind of IDE based of tool, but it's quite different from the Cursor or WindSurf. We're gonna be learning from here. So this is our presentation, and as you can see, we're going to discuss between the differences between the Cursor and Claude. Uh, Personally talking, I like Cursor more. Just in the starting, I'm telling you guys. So I started with the Cursor. So as you can see, what are the advantages and disadvantages of Cursor? If I start before that, I would like to tell you guys why I'm telling you that. So if we compare the tooling we have discussed earlier in the live stream, first we have already created videos on the Cursor WinSub as well as some browser tools like V0, Raplet, Lovable. So we are already comparing all these tools. So the most important comparison we already have discussed and we talk about is user friendliness, because most of the time we try to it's a stream of vibe coding. So we suppose like the most of the developer are beginners and a person who didn't code earlierly. So we try to find out which have less steep learning curve and easy to learn for a beginner. So if we compare on that scale, so if we say, as I discussed, we already discussed for the browser tools, like Lovable and V0 and Replit, they are easiest because you don't need to set up anything in your local machine. You just open the browser and open the uh, V0 website and start coding there. You just need to put one or two command and they start building something. But when it comes to Cursor and Windsurf, you need to set up and install Windsurf and Cursor on the local machine. So when we compare that, we discussed like for the beginner, it's really easy to start from the V0 or the browser tools. But if you want to set up or create a bigger code base and a tool with a proper back end front end, you need to manage the code, a bigger code. We need to clone all your code in your local machine so that you can manage properly. And Cursor and Windsor plays a very important role here. They were really helpful for that developers. But then as we know that Cloud Code comes into the picture, and why we gonna be using, who will be using them, and why this new tools is important, and if this tool is for you or not. So first of all, I like to say, for the easy beginner perspective, if you talk about, Cursor is easy, and I can show you why. So the main reason is, for the for in case of Cursor, let me show you quickly. When we open cursor, we got this chat box, and here we have a agent. We have, we can ask the agent to build something for us. It's going to, in the auto mode, as we already discussed, and it's going to, build something and then figure out the errors and build on that error. You don't need to do, much in here. You just need to provide the prompts. It will going to the going to show you the code, do all the code for you. It's going to manage all your code base, understand all your code base. But when it comes to the Claude, it's a terminal tool. So if we okay, so if we talk about here you don't get any chatbot. What do you need to do? Let me show you. In the Claude, what do you need to do? You just go into the terminal and type Claude. It starts a process, as you can see. And here in the terminal, you need to write the message. This terminal going to have all the understanding of your code base, and with that understanding, it's going to give you the result. So as you can see, it gives you more power. So if you're the person who is, experienced developer, he gonna have understanding of the terminal, so it's good for them. But for the beginner, it's quite, a steep learning curve. When you start building and using this terminal tool, they're gonna be loving the Cloud, and we have the reason for that. Let me show you the reason. So first of all, let's just compare. So let's just compare what are, the advantages of the cross cursor and the Claude. So as you can see, it's built on the VS Code. So cursor is wholly built on the VS Code, and it's like integrated properly on the VS Code. You don't need like they have used all the features of the VS Code, and like not even the terminals but also the files, like in the VS Code. When you go to, make changes in the file, cursor helps you in that. If you're going to write some code, it's going to auto complete the code, so it helps you all over the VS Code. But in the Claude, it you can only ask on the terminal. They are not going to Claude is not going to help on the file side. Okay, so that's the advantage here. So it's seamless VS Code integration, beginner friendly, and visual editing and checkpoints. So we'll talk about the checkpoints here. It's, topics we already discussed, but we talk when we start coding here. So the most important feature is like it has a proper UI. We can save. So it has integrated GView, and so it provides you a chatbot where you can, see what you are putting the chat, and what all the results it's showing in the proper way. And it's interactive workflow. It has checkpoints and visual first. So it a visual. If a developer who's a beginner, he can see what's happening there. It's like easy for them. But when we talk about the Claude, so it's a terminal first assistant focused on deep reasoning, and it provides you much autonomy to the developer. So if a person who is a, experienced developer, this tool is great for them. So as you say, like it's a terminal first. So if a person who has experience in the development, they don't, sigh out with the terminal. They want everything on their terminal. So they even don't need to have, extension on the VS Code. They can, if they want to, if they are a system developer, if they want to code using just their terminal like a Linux style, they can do. Cloud gonna help there. They don't they need any, platform like VS Code at all. And but Claude also give you a larger context. So here it helps the developer a lot. So I, as I said you, the categories. If you are a beginner and you don't have any coding, knowledge, earlier coding knowledge, you can start with a browser tool. And if you have created some app and you want more control on that, you want to, manage the code base, you don't, feel like you can trust on the browsing tool, that they can handle your code properly, and if they this tool not going to be lost, you can use the cursor or windsurf. But what happens in the cursor, it's a quite cheap. It gives you $20 per month. So, and on your behalf, cursor also try to optimize your prompts in such a way that you need to you can use a lesser tokens in a call. It's good for the beginner because beginner don't know how to prompt and what prompt exactly they are giving. They basically repeat with the prompt. So for the learning or the for the non-coder, it's helpful there because it decreases the cost. But also while optimizing the prompts or while optimizing your context, it over optimize sometime, because when the code base increases and the prompts become difficult, so it over optimize the prompt and you don't get the proper result. So as Claude, in as we can see, uh, if we see in the cursor, let me show you. If you check out the models of the cursor in that, you can see it already using the Claude Sonnet 4 model. And in the Claude code, we are also going to use the same model. But still, the both model, which is in the, if we compare with the cursor or the Claude, they give the different results because of the context window. The context you are providing, the prompts you are providing, using the cursor, it over optimize it to reduce your cost, and you lost some context there, and you don't get proper results. So like while someone who has experience with the Claude code, they say like they don't need to repeatedly ask so many prompts to get the similar result when compared to the cursor. So here we can get from here, cursor or sorry, Claude is built for the complex development. If you want to build some complex yeah.
Sorry. So so basically, Claude has deeper reasoning, so it has better memory, and which makes it a lot better in the long run. Is that right? And also better for coders that know what they're doing already. Because from my point of view, it looks like Claude is super terrifying to use compared to Cursor.
So yeah, like Claude is capable of better reasoning, and it is using the Sonnet 4 model, which is a better model for the reasoning. But the most the focus here is the tool we are using cursor. In behind we are using the Claude. Cursor don't have their model, so they are sending the context from
Yeah.
you, optimizing it, and sending to the API of the Claude. And it's just to optimize your cost, because Claude API is costlier. So to make it cheaper, it optimize and try to provide proper information, less tokens, where Claude directly send all the context, because it's not optimizing it.
Because they own it. It's
Yeah.
their LLM. Yeah.
So that's what the main disadvantage come with the Claude. Claude is costlier, cursor is cheap. So that's the main, that's why like if we compare both the tool, for the beginner and the person who want to start and want to create some demos, cursor is best tool for them, because they're gonna make some mistakes and try to learn prompting, and they are not that uh, experienced with the AI tools to write the proper prompt. And in that case, their cost gonna be increasing if they're going to use the Claude. So the best tool for them is the cursor, I think so. But if you have got some experience, you have created some app and you are building some serious app, and you are going to run business on that, so Claude gonna help you there, to help you in the complex functionalities. You don't need to spend a lot of time. It's going to use all the context video window, like the latest model provides you to 200K. It's going to use all this context window. Here is a complete comparison. So before going into the comparison, I would like to show something like why I use like cursor. So cursor also provides you some features. Again, so let me close it. When you go to the cursor, it have the auto mode. So if you give a prompt to the agent, if this is a very simple prompts, you want to build something, you provide a prompt, it's going to you builds everything in the auto mode. We're going to I'm going to show you that. Before that, uh, it also give you the feature to you know share the images. You can go to the pictures, or I can go to the recent screenshots. You can directly share the images here. So if you are creating some UI and you think there is something is not right and you don't know as a beginner what prompt you go and give to the AI tool, you just go and screenshot the UI and give the AI tool like this UI is not properly this UI don't looks proper, just fix it. AI going to check the images and fix it for you. But if we see the terminal system of the Claude, you don't have such useful UI. You don't have any button here to you know provide the images, although you can provide the images, but you need to give the path of that images. That's not really user friendly for the beginner. If a person who has development experience, that's easy for them. They're
By
gonna
path, sorry, by path you mean like just with the code where the code is at that you want fixed?
sorry, can you repeat?
By path, do you mean like the code? You have to actually find the code and tell it to fix that, right? Or
the
because
path the path means like the image in your PC, like the path of the
oh,
image.
oh, because it's a terminal, you have to
Yeah,
okay, see desktop, whatever.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying, like it's not user friendly or the beginner friendly. And talking about the comparison, okay, so I think we should give some prompts to them so that we can have other features to compare. So let me just provide. So what we're gonna be basically doing, we are trying to check like if they can figure out how they can how COTI smart contract works, what are the private data and all regarding the COTI blockchain. So we already have done this with the cursor in the earlier video, but now we are going to check like how Claude and cursor both behave with the same prompts. So let me just provide this prompt to the, and it's in the auto mode. To compare it better, what I gonna do currently, we are I'm going to use the Sonnet 4 because in the Claude I also going to use the Sonnet board. So I'm selecting the same model here and I'm providing clone the. So first of all, I'm going to say like clone the COTI Hardhat template. So it has some basic information of the COTI,
Wait,
and we
Upendra, if I may ask, if you want to compare, in this case, Cursor versus Claude, do you want to use the same model? Or would you say have Cursor optimized? Because you can choose a model, right, by on its own.
yeah, yeah, you are right. So cursor, one of the most advantageous part here is the cursor is you can also switch between the models. It provides you hundreds of models, not hundreds. I think I oversaid that, but let me show you all the models it have. So if you check, you can choose between all the models. Still there are so many lists, and you can also provide the APIs of your own. So all the latest models like chat GPT, Gemini and Grok, DeepSeek, all the models of Claude, so you can use any model if you want with the cursor. But if we try to see similar thing with the Claude, one thing we can also make it look better by just adding the extension here. Claude also provide you the extension for the VS Code. If you open the Claude extension, you can install it from here, and then you can click on there here. So you gonna be like having a proper. Okay, let me open again. Yeah. Okay. So it kind of looks like similar to the cursor because the terminal comes in that side, but it is still a terminal. Okay. So don't be confused with the ask tool or a chat tool. It's not a chat tool. It's just a terminal in the right hand side. So it just gives you a button to open the Claude. Still you're gonna be doing the same thing. And here if you try to find out the features, it if you write this as, it gives you some features. In the features, you can select the models. As you can see, like you need to, like a terminal, you need to go in the down and find out the model prompt. And if you try writing that, yeah, so if we select the models, it gives you the option of Shonet 4 only. So Cloud only provide you one model, Sonnet 4. If you want to, use the Opus model, the bigger one, more than the Sonnet 4, you need to upgrade to the Max mod. So in the Pro, it don't provide you the Sonnet 4. It only provide you the Sonnet 4. To use the Opus, you need to go to the, you need to upgrade to the Max mod. So you have only one mode option. So like this Sonnet 4 works with very good with the coding. So like everyone is doing and using this mod only. But when it comes for the smaller task, like if you have built the code and you want to ask some questions regarding your code, uh, I think you prefer to use some smaller model for that. You are just asking some, you just want to chat with your code, try to understand the code, try to ask some silly question regarding that, what this script do, like a beginner, try to understand your code. For that case, you don't I think don't want to use that that expensive model. Even a chat gpt is a smaller version, you can select and do that, or you can use the free versions, free models here to do that. So that's the disadvantage here for the Claude. Also, one of the disadvantage, I feel like it also don't have a free trial. So if someone wants to try Claude Code, they cannot. Let me share in the Claude Posh pricing. It has a free mod for the browser version. For the pro version, you can uh, access Claude Code in the pro version, not in the free version. So if a beginner wants to do some hands-on, try to use it to see if it's fit for them, so they don't provide that feature too. I think they are clear here. They just want experienced developers or a person who is developing some serious, or for a team who is developing some serious product to use that. That's why they don't provide some beginner, and their terminal or their UI don't look like beginner friendly, because they are just provide the terminal support. Experienced developer needs that. So now let's move on to the comparison we have. So talking about the interface, they are terminal based, and Cursor provides you the UI. Learning curve, as we already discussed, Claude has a steeper learning curve. So Claude is best for deep reasoning, automation, large projects, as we already discussed, and Cursor is for daily coding, quick interaction, and visual feedback. So that's why I said Cursor is best for the beginner. If you talk about the code quality, Claude provides you the higher code quality, and it takes fewer iterations. So that's what I said. Like it gives you the larger context window. You're gonna be using complete context window, and and it also provides you the more support or more freedom to the developer to choose. And here Claude thinks that the experienced developer knows what they are pushing there and what they are asking, so it's kind of provides you are in the fewer iteration you can get a quality code here. Response speed, so Claude takes it's a slower, it takes time to give you the response. As I said, cursor is optimized for the optimized there, and so it is fast. And cursor automatically also choose, if you put it on the auto mode, which model fits for your your prompt, so it's fast for that. And as can we see, file size handling better with extremely large files. So Claude can handle extremely large files, so it's best for the, as you say, better and bigger code base. As we say, like pricing, there's no free trial, and Cursor provides you the free trial.
Upendra, just a question regarding the pricing. Considering that I'm using the same model in both like tools, I will have the same cost, right? I mean, the cost per million tokens, it's basically the same if I'm using, I mean,
Yeah,
exactly the same model, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
but it
yeah,
also, yeah, your question.
no, sorry. Go ahead. I will,
I would
I will
like to add
complement
in
after.
there. I would like to add in there. The pricing is like same, because they're gonna be using the same API, like the Sonnet 4. So pricing should be same, but Cursor try. It also depends on the tool, because Claude Code is also a tool which is taking your prompts and also the understanding of the whole code base, and then converting it into a context and then sending to the API, right? So pricing is depend on the API cost, how much context you are, or how much token you are using there. So Cursor optimize that part. It fetches the code base and your prompts, and it over optimize it sometimes. Like developers, when I read about what other developers are telling, they say like Cursor sometimes over optimize your prompts, but it optimize it, make the context smaller, so the price you use less pricing for a for a call. And
Because of the context. Mhm.
when checking on the documentation of the Claude, they say that like Claude is built for the bigger task, complex task, and if you are thinking to ask a smaller question, they suggest add all the question in a prompt, because you are losing this is going to say cost you same, and you are asking the silly questions. So that's also advice from the Claude. So it's clearly says like it's for the for the bigger projects and complex tasks.
Mhm. Cool.
And
Regarding the interface, just a curiosity, right? I think about a week and a half ago, Cursor launched their CLI as well. That's, by the way, is very, very, very similar to Claude CLI. Basically the same experience, right? Just a curiosity, right?
I think like they got like what Claude are trying to like target audience of the Claude, and they created a
Yeah,
CLI for that too. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, if talking about the pricing, Cursor AI and Claude AI, and before that, let's just hit the prompt so that it start building something. So here we are asking just to find out the Hardhat template example from the COTI, and import here, and explain the code here, because like we going to fetch for the beginner, it's like friendly for them to fetch some code from the example. So how to use Hardhat. So let's try to find if Cursor can do that and how well it can do that. And also we are going to provide the same prompt to the Claude. Okay. So Claude has created a to-do list. What he's going to do is going to clone the COTI hardhat template, explore the repository structure, and analyze the repository and all. I think Cursor is also doing the similar thing. Yeah, it's already cloned the repository, I guess. Cursor
Upendra,
already cloned the repository.
just a question. Is there a way to ask the cursor to plan the tasks before executing it? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So uh, it's kind of terminal, but in the terminal you are just putting the prompt. You can also put the prompt of planning.
Hmm.
So as you can see, cursor figure out the to-do list. It's sorry, Claude has created the to-do list, and in the first to-do list, it's going to clone the repository, and it's asking you if you can do that. And there is another option, yes, don't ask again for git clone command. So another automatic option it is providing you, when another git clone command comes, don't ask me. So I can also give this permission. And there is a third permission, no, don't clone me. So it's just giving you three permissions. There is no permission for auto mode. Like you, I have given a bigger prompt in which I ask it to clone the repo and understand the code and run it. But it's just going to ask every time, it's going to do all these tasks. It's just created a to-do list and it will ask you permission. There's no way you can put it in the automat, so like it's going to perform all the tasks and come to you. While in the cursor, you can see cursor already cloned it, because I select the auto feature here. And it also start understanding the code base. It's already explained the privacy features of the COTI, like the types, privacy types in the COTI, in the code. It's like I asked it to explain the code. So like I'm a beginner, so I can check what I want to do with the smart contracts and what smart contract I want you to create. So it's already done all these things. Still Claude is waiting for our permission. So if we give the permission, it's going to clone the repository for us, and then it's going to ask all these permissions. So this is good for the complex task. And if you want to want to use the lesser, try to reduce the cost, you want to check all the prompts. But when it comes for the smaller task, like we know these AI tool are capable to do that, and these are really small tasks. You don't need giving all the time permissions. You just want to give the provide the prompt and go for have a coffee, and it's going to prepare it for you. So I think here for the beginner or the intermediate developers, it's going to be difficult to code with the cursor. Still doing that, it's giving me the prompts. Okay, so it has cloned the repository. Let's check. Yeah. And what else it has done? So it is showing us the code base. It has all the files, what all are the relevant files. It has a smart contract, what all the functions of the smart contract. And it also discussed the IT type, GT type, and CT type. So if you don't know, there are three privacy type, added by the COTI GC library in the EVM. So it's called GC EVM, which makes it the GC EVM. The first type is input encrypted integers. So if you want to input something encrypted value, you use ID type. For validation and calculation on the encrypted value for the GT type. And there's a CT type for which is called ciphertext, which is an encrypted value going to be saved on the blockchain. So I think both of them have discussed these things, all the files and all. Yeah, I think results are really same, but the time it has taken, the cursor just did it in within a minute, and Claude has taken some time, and also the permission from us, and it provided us the commands we need to perform. And here, if we see here, it also providing us the commands we can use to, yeah, I think the result here are similar. Now we are going to run another command. Let's check. So we need to find, like, if they can find out what we need to install, or if we need any account or testnet tokens to do that. We gonna be needing it, but let's try to find out if they can figure out by themselves. So we are going to list all the prerequisites needing to install and run the test Hardhat demo, and explain step by step. So we gonna asking it to both. Yeah. So as you can see in the thought, it already planned in the similar way as to-do list created by the Claude, but Claude is still waiting here. Yeah, it already planned, cursor already planned, you know, as done by the Claude, because they are using the same model, but the speed of the cursor is fast. So it did all the checks. It provides you the prerequisite, like you need to have the Node.js and Git and all the steps if you don't have. And then let's set up the project in your current repository. It start installing it. Yeah, it's kind of start building the project, deploying the smart contract and testing it, because it is start running the command and it didn't find like we have the environment file, so it's creating the environment file for us. It already run the npm install, but when we check to the Claude, so it provided us the steps, but let's find out if it has run any command or not. Yeah, we don't have any node module file here, so it didn't run the command. It just planned everything similarly, but it's not running any command. It's just provided me the features. So let's ask it to run the, or we can use a similar prompt for, although cursor already did it. If you see, it's already created a env file, and it's give me the steps, and it's trying to run the code for ourselves. So what we needed, I asked just to understand the code and provide me the understanding. Claude provided the same, and cursor already provided me the understanding. Then it's run the code, and it's giving me the error that you don't have the money in the faucet. Go to the faucet and provide me some COTI token. Claude is still providing me the understanding of the code. Let's just ask the Claude to run this code and test the contracts for me. Till then, let's try to fund this wallet. So here cursor already run the code and created an address for us, account for us. What we need to do, we need to fund this. So how we can do that, we can find out in the link. Let's just see if it has provided us the right link or not. Yeah, so it transferred to the Discord. We need to go to the Discord and ask for the testnet token. Let's just open the Discord. As we are waiting for the Discord to open. Okay. Yeah. We go to the COTI channel. Here is a COTI testnet faucet. Ask for testnet Okay, we need to paste the address here. Okay, I pass the limit. I can ask only once in 24 hours. Let me transfer it from my wallet.
Well, we can also ask if you want it on that address.
Yeah, that's also possible.
Just share
Let
the
me,
address and I'll
let
paste
me
it.
share the address to you guys. Yeah, because I gonna also have another address. Let's check how Claude is behaving. Yeah. Yes, Claude is still waiting for our permission. So we are going to say yes. It's unable to find out where is the code is. So basically we have cloned the repository in our project and not able to find out the repo. Let's just try if it can figure out from itself, or we need to provide a prompt for that. Okay, so let's just close this one. This one too. Not going to be useful. I have funded account. And one feature I also like to talk about, Claude also provide, like if we open any file here, Claude also provide auto completion here. So as you say, I just given, I just entered in the code, it is already suggesting me another function. So Claude go through the code, sorry, cursor go through the code, because it's deeply integrated with the, it providing its own app, or we say it, it's just extension of VS Code, but it integrated, cursor integrated in the VS Code so properly, like it also provides some features like this is auto suggest. So it's automatically suggesting me a function. It's think like we don't have, like if you can see the contract, we are just saving some value. We don't have any functions to get this value. So it's providing me a functionality by itself. So autocomplete feature, uh, it's quite user friendly. Like if a beginner going to write some code, like is going to write function, it's automatically suggesting here the complete code, right? I write D and it's like decrypt private numbers, suggesting the whole functionality to us. This is not possible in the Claude, because Claude is just a terminal. So that's, this is a, that's why I said like it's a beginner friendly tool. And if you can see, it is showing me like Node.js is installed, token funded, and privacy setup has been done. And if let's say it has already deployed the contract or not, we can check it from here. Yeah, so it already, what is has done is onboarded the user by itself. As you can see, we have a public key of the user here, sorry, we have the user key here, so it's already onboarded the user. As you can see, what has been done, it's created the blockchain address for us, funded the address, and now we have a private key and we have an encryption key. We also call it the user key. It's created it. And what you can do next, it's suggesting me to you can deploy the contract and run the test cases. I can check, do that. just let's check the Claude. It is still, stuck with the environment setup. So here you need to be, actively involved here. You need to be suggesting the files here, because not it's trying to complete all this to-do list, and you need to be there to, provide it the permission.
So it's less autonomous, but it's safer.
Yeah. If you know what are you building, and it's also good for if you want to, decrease the cost. Sometime like cursor, try to build something which you don't need, and try to create some extra test scripts, and try to run some more tests you don't know for the demos, and it sometimes start creating a complete UI for you didn't ask. So it's not that autonomous. And if we go to the cursor and ask like run, so deploy the contract and run test, and also provide proper results and transaction hash. We cannot forget the Claude here, otherwise it's going to be lagging behind, because we need to give permission. It has a to-do list. Now what is saying, it has created a account for us, and the test cases has been failed, and it is asking us to fund the COTI testnet token. So this is the new address for you guys to fund it.
Well, in this case, someone else should ask it, because I just funded the other one for this cost.
Let me fund this one. So
Yeah.
let me do that.
Secretly, this whole session is just a way to get funding from all of us.
Now check the cursor.
Done.
Okay. So cursor says it already deployed. The contact address is here, and deployment account, it's our usual account, and it's trying to run the tests, like if it's working or not. Till then we can go and check it's deployed or not on where, let's just, okay, let me just open account. Let's go to the COTI scan, try to find out if the testnet have this contact address or not. Go in the transactions, and it says contact has been created just a minute ago. So yeah, the result is right, and we are going to say yes, we have funded the token. And now check the Claude. It is running the test cases, and it says one test case is passing. Now the test passed successfully. Now let's create a more detailed script so you transaction has a complete detail. So yeah, I just asked it to create the test case and run the test cases, and it's been successfully passed, but it feels like I don't have work to do. So it goes again and start creating a extended, testing script, and creating results for all the testers. So let's check. It's created another detailed test, and through there we can get, like, if we check our contract, it just have we try to write something and left here. So in our context we just have one function which basically does, you can come and write some secret number here, so no one can find out what the number you have written in the contract. And you can get only person who has encrypted the number can read it and decrypt that. So like it's a kind of three or four friends have a same encryption key, and they got, if they want to find out the test results or try to gamble something, or uh, try to pass the message to other friend, they gonna on the blockchain and encrypt the number, and then gonna save it on the blockchain, and another friend going to fetch the number, because anyone can go and fetch this, can read the state of the blockchain, because code is a public blockchain, but no one can read it, only the person who has an encryption key can read it. So it says like, let's try to find out a transaction cursor has created. So it also provides us the link of the private privacy transaction. If we open the link, kind of open in my second screen. Let me just copy it. Let's just copy the transaction has and open in our previous link here. This is the transaction has, and if we go into the detail, here is a raw input. If we try to decode it, it's just a hash value, no one can read it. And so it already explaining the developer user send, and it's visible to everyone, and contact store this, it's visible to everyone, and it's kind of comparing. For the traditional blockchain, if user send a value like 1 2 3 4 5, it's going to visible to everyone when user is sending it. When it's going to be stored in the context, it's going still going to the same value, and it's visible to everyone and anyone can read it. But when come to the COTI privacy blockchain, it's going to be encrypted, it's going to be private when user is sending it. In the contract is going to be is going to be encrypted, and it's never going to be decrypted, and only owner can read it. So like anyone can fetch the value, but it's going to be private, so only owner can read it. So it's also explaining the smart contract to you. And let's just move on to another one. Okay, I just forgot to give yes. So we can think, we can see like both of them are doing the same job. It's going to like they were able to figure out the repositories, they were able to uh, try to deploy the contracts, test the contract. But it's like the feature in the cursor is you know cursor has more feature for the person who want to interact with their code. Claude don't have that features. So it's going to deploy to the COTI testnet. Meanwhile, what we can do, we can try to try to find out now if cursor and Claude can create another contract for us, like it have some understanding of COTI now. So let's just try to find out some private tokens or private contract. So I'm going to ask, it's a best practice in the cursor. If you are going to start some new feature or new task, you need to switch to the new chat. You already going always going to have the history for the previous chat. That's also a very important feature for the cursor. This is not available in the Claude, it's just a terminal tool. What I'm going to say, write a smart contract using Hardhat on COTI chain that creates a private token. And I am also asking it to provide proper comments in the functionality, so that beginner can understand what all these functionalities do.
Sorry. May I know why do you need to start a new chat every time?
Yeah, yeah, there is a proper reason for that. What happens here, if you go to the previous chat, it already stored a proper context, proper history of that chat. So whenever it's going to call the API of a model, it is still going to pick all the files and all the context of that with the attach the context in the API call. But if you are going to work on the newer feature, we don't need the previous smart contracts test files detail, previous smart contract, because we're going to create a new contract. So it unburden it for some extra context. That's why we need to
Gotcha. Yeah.
open the new chat. So it's started building it, and we are going to give the permission to the Claude.
So it's a new chat, but because it's in the same project, it already has the
Yeah.
context.
So
Okay.
what new chat gonna be doing? It will pick the context what required for this new feature. It's not going to pick the previous context, but is we are giving this new prompt in the same code base, so it gonna check all the code base and provide take the proper context. So as we can see, I will help you create a comprehensive private token, and if we can try to find out if it has created. Okay, it's trying to create some private token. It is importing the private ERC20 from the COTI, and it's using the ownable from the OpenJeplin. So like there are going to be some functionality which only owner can call, like the mint and all. Like there is a function called mint private. Okay, it also have a function mint private GT. Yeah, so it was able to figure out how the private token works. But what basically it's doing, I think it's just because we didn't provide the proper context or proper prompt. We just ask it to create a private token. So it start building a private token. It's imported the private token library from the COTI and try to integrate all the functionalities of the private token here. Even we may be not needing that much of functionality. So in the beginning, we need to provide the functionalities we need. So if we check out my prompt, the prompt I have provided, write a smart contract using Hardhat on COTI chain that creates a private token. So we didn't provide any functionalities we are needing here. So that's why it has created implemented all the functionalities here. But we still be going to find out what else it's going to do. And it's also providing you a beginner friendly explanation. Like if you can check, it's a transfer private function, and it says like this is like sending a private text message with money. You encrypt the amount before sending, or nobody can see how much you sent. So if you are not if you don't have the proper knowledge of your contract, it's going to provide you the proper knowledge of the functionalities, like the money is going to be encrypted, and it's giving you the real world example. So if a person who is a vibe coder, I think that's really great for them. And now it's kind of creating a guide how to use it. It already created a test cases for that, and we're going to be checking if it's going to deploy it or test it on the testnet or not. And if you go to the Claude, so it says like it has deployed the contract on the testnet. Let's just copy it, try to search it on the Explorer. Yeah, it has been created 6 minutes ago. Now let's just try to provide the same prompt here, and just let's check like if it's also going to provide a smart contract with all the functionalities integrated there, or it's going to be uh, find out like if a user or if a person needs some functionalities like minting and burning, like common one. So let's find out here. And in between, what we can do, okay, I think, okay, let me just find out my, I don't have here, let me just give me a sec, like let me open my presentation first.
No
Robert
problem.
is on the screen.
For those who joined in, who just joined, this is a part of a series of 3 in which we compare Claude with Cursor with Google AI, and each of those 3 will be paired off against another this week. And Upendra has taken on this, has taken us on this journey to review all the features, the user friendliness, the context interpretation, and the automation. And right now we are playing with both Cursor and Claude Code. Calvin, what is your first impression?
Well, I mean, if I were to use this, I'd probably use Cursor. Claude with Terminal, I think that's like I tried to use Linux once and I gave up. I know everyone that uses Linux is like super into Linux, but I couldn't get into working on it, everything on Terminal. So Cursor for me. I'm a noob.
I think my screen is
Okay.
not visible.
Yeah.
Then someone,
But it looks like
yeah,
I
There we go. Yep.
I
yeah,
think that all right. Continue.
yeah. As we can see, like Claude is building
Okay.
one. Well, then we can also compare the pricing. So here in the cursor, you have a hobby mode, so anyone can go and use it free for for several weeks.
It's
But
also free.
yeah,
Much better.
Claude. Talking about Claude, Claude is free for just for the browser model. If you talk about for the Claude CLI, it's not free. You need to have a you know you need to have a pro model. Otherwise, if like Claude was expensive earlier, they just decreases their pricing. Before that, like before a week, Claude don't have this option like the pro. uh, you don't have a fixed pricing there. They were just costing on behalf of the users, and few of the developer has extensively used it, and the bill comes so much for them. So they introduce a competitive pricing for the cursor. Now they also providing you the $20 per month, but as experienced by many developers, not worth if you are building 1 or 2 projects. It's going to be uh, it finishes quickly because it has a bigger context window, and it's not optimized, so it's going to be utilize all the limits quickly. It also have a max mod. They also decrease the pricing. Before they have a 2000 sorry $200 per month, with which you can do as much as coding as you want, but they have decreases the pricing, also the users limit. Now you have 5 to 20x on the pro version, so um, it's also going to be end. Talking about the cursor, they have $20 a month. Basically you can use the premium model not a lot. If you extensively use the Sonnet 4 is going to be premium model going to be end in a week. But if you put it in the auto mode, it's going to rebalance it when you want, you cursor feel like you really want for the complex functionality, then it's going to be using the advanced model. Otherwise, if you cursor things like this can be done with the free model or the cheaper model, is going to use that cheaper model. With that, you can use it for a month. And if your limits exceeds, it's going to be put you on the cheaper models or also on the free model. So you can basically use cursor for a month with that. So here for the beginner, that's why it's advantageous. And with the two, it also have a plan for 200 per month. So it has, you are going to get the max mod here and the bigger user limit. So if you are using $200 per month with a auto mod, it's not going to be end in a month. Now if you
Just
I do have.
sorry.
Go first.
Oh, sorry, Upendra. Just out of curiosity, for the $200 per month model, what do they use it for?
sorry, what do you mean?
For the $200 a month model, like what do you actually use it for? Because what's the difference between Pro and Ultra in terms of
So
usage?
like for $200 per month, basically you can use all the premium model with the max mod with the reasoning on for a month. Like if I'm going to use the premium model like Sonnet for 2 or 3 continuously for 6 or 10 hours, it's going to be say like you are out of the limit. It's for a month, but like this $20 is for a month. You got the validity for the month, but if you extensively used it, it's going to be end in 2 or 3 days. But for $200 a month, it's going to be last for a month with a premium model.
I'm just curious, like what kind of project would be built, for $200 a month? Yeah, just
Yeah, like yeah, we can say like for for if you talk about the complexity of the projects. If you are going to create a complete dashboard for a crypto trading projects, and which need to do more on data analysis, and you are playing with so much data. So in that you need to create much harder APIs, and some results, some graphic analysis on the so much data. So to optimize that, you need to create a solid project. For that, you need to have a proper. For that, I think even a premium model going to be fail. So you cannot use the smaller model in any prompt there. So you will be using all the time the premium models. So that's why, that's where it comes. And also I think let's just check quickly cursor billings.
Just a personal experience on Cursor, on Cloud CLI, actually. If you are using it extensively, you are supposed to spend like $8 to $10 per hour if you're using it really. I mean, really like sending a lot of messaging, writing a lot of files with no pause in 1 hour. I have spent like $8 to $10, but of course it depends on what you are building. But it's expensive, right? The Anthropics model is expensive, but they are really good at coding,
Yeah.
especially at coding. They are really good. But just sharing my personal expensive experience using Cursor, using a Claude CLI actually.
Yeah, and that, of course, it's if you look at the output a developer can have now using these tools in terms of how much more than before, that is a fraction of the potential return on investment for $200 a month, that what that person can deliver for the company or that project.
It's a really good point, because if you are
yeah.
like, even though it's expensive, I mean, you are saving a lot of time, right? So you need also to do the calculation on the other side, right? How much time I will spend doing exactly the same thing? Probably hours, much more hours. So it's important to keep it into consideration, right? When you are evaluating the cost, we need also to evaluate the time savings on the other side.
I have a question. So I know that Cursor can have other models as well. Um, is there is there a big difference between Claude and GPT-5 at the moment? Is Claude still the best for coding?
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, GPT-5 is also like doing really great job, but as talking about the Claude, it's, I think developers like it because I guess it's mostly the, trained for the coding. So coders like it a lot. So it also depend on the personal uses.
Basically, you're asking for a new broadcast, Calvin, for another comparison.
Yeah, and if you check out in the pricing, it says like you basically get 20x of the premium models of the Pro. So cost is 10x, and you are getting the 20x users. That's all. It's of $20, it's of $200. It's 10x cost with the. So that's you get in the pricing. That was the comparison of the pricing. Now, talking about the choosing the right tool, as already says, a person who prefer a UI and ID native workflow. So, like what this ID native for workflow is like, as I have shown in the cursor, I'm typing just function. It's suggesting me a whole functionality to me. So, if you want that, cursor is good fit for you. Uh, Need speed and also a safety of checkpoints. So that's also a very important feature. I missed it. So let me show you. So let me give the permission to the Claude first. It's waiting for my permission. Till then, let me open the cursor. Here in the cursor, it was my first prompt. What has been, yeah, so talking about the private token first, it says it has integrated the MCP library, Garbal circuit production ready, type safety, compressive testing, development experience. And let's just try to find out if it already deployed it or compiled it. How to use it provided me the commands. I don't think it has run the command till now. Okay, it says it deployed it here, private token. Let's just find out. Yeah. No, it's not on the testnet. It said it's completed and deployment and testing has been completed. Deployed here. So let's ask again, deploy and test functions. And when it's going to, give you some response. Till then, let me open this, just try to find out a checkpoint here. Yeah. So whenever you're going to give a prompt, it creates a version for you, basically. So after this prompt, it has, created some code for you. And in the next prompt is going to make the changes in the code. And if you don't find that code proper, or you think you thought like the previous one was right one, and it like messed up all the code and you need to go to the previous version, you can go using this checkpoint in the cursor. It going to be like after this prompt, it's after it will complete all the coding, it will provide me a checkpoint here. I can switch back to this checkpoint. Okay, but this is not possible in the cloud. So let me just open it here. It's just a terminal tool, so there's no functionality of checkpoint in the cloud. So I think that's really important for any developer. Your prompts gonna be, anytime going to mess up the code, and you don't know how to, go to the previous one. I have discussed with the developers. I got to come around with one developer's opinion. He liked the Claude because Claude was providing a proper complex functionality for his app. He was building an app, and now he is implementing a complex functionality, so he's using Claude. But this version control is not, it's very important feature, and he was not able to uh, find it on the Claude. So he is always, whenever he put a prompt, he gonna do, he is committing it on the GitHub. So he's manually using the GitHub has a version controlling for his project. That's not, that's not really user friendly. So only a person who needed the Claude much and don't have any option can do that. So this is really important functionality of the cursor. Claude don't have it. Let's just try to check out the private token it has created. So let's try to find out. It's imported the MPC core, and it is trying to create the whole functionality of the private token by itself, I think. Yeah, it's not importing the library, private token library COTI has provided, is just trying to create the whole contract by itself. So I think Cursor also did a great job here, because whenever you have a tested library, it's a standard practice to use the standard library, because especially with the smart contracts, uh, because it's involved money. So let's just try to say yes, like if see it can compile it or deploy it. I mean, if it's created a smart contract without library, but it's still, it's these functionalities are working or not. So it's asking to Hardhat compile. Yeah, so functionality is not working. It's like got some error, and asking permission if it can search on the web to find out the solution for it. I gonna ask, in the last, just waiting for you guys' opinion, like how you guys are feeling about that. Let's just, try to find out if I'm missing something or anything Claude have unique here. So it's also saying like if you can use cursor for day-to-day application development and quick edits. So for the quick edits, as I said, creating documentation and all, you always need to do the cursor, because cursor is a cheaper for these functionalities. You're going to use the cheaper models, and what, according to my experience using the Claude and the cursor, if with the $20 model plan, if you start building something, it's going to be in a week, and then you have only one option to use the cheaper models on the cursor. So in that case, you can use cursor for that. So for the daily code check and day to do application development, prototype development. And if you are a visual learner who benefits from diffs and inline chat, so this is the inline chat I showed you. It gives you the automatic suggestion, and it also has a diff functionality in the cursor. Let's, where I can show you guys. Let me check where the prompt has been stopped earlier. Okay, let's just wait it to finish. I'm gonna be showing you the functionality of the diff. Basically what it shows, after completing the code, it have a diff button through where you can easily see what are the differences made in the files. So it will show you all the code updates it's going to it did in the files. Otherwise you need to go into the file all the time and try to check hold the file. Now you can just compare the differences like a git. In the GitHub we check the while merging the code we check the differences. Similarly it provides the diff functionality in the cursor, because the whole cursor is built on the VS Code. It's able to build all this functionality, which is very helpful for the developer, but it's not in on the Claude. Let's talk about the Claude. It's a live-in terminal and prefers CLI-based tool, work with a large multi-file and complex code base. So basically, it's live in the terminal. So I think a developer who is, very, very good with the terminal, or very, very comfortable with the terminal, they prefer that, because they don't need they need their clean slate to write the code by themselves. So for them I think Claude is preferable. If a person work with a large multi-file complex code base, and if he needs to automate tasks with the CI/CD pipeline, or there is also a use case for the DevOps person, so Claude helps there a lot. And but the as we can see from the discussion, the only conclusion come here, Claude is targeting the complex code base, and I think that's really important feature for the upcoming development, for any projects, for the projects building on the wholly on the AI, for microservice system. They need to have a, bigger larger context window for them, and Claude provide that. So that's the target audience for them. And it's required deep reasoning for large scale refactoring or debugging. And here my suggestion, you can choose the hybrid approach. As I said, like this $20 pro models going to be, end in a week. You can have both, so you can choose wisely. Like if you need to build something complex in your project, you got stuck somewhere, you can switch to the Claude. And when you use some smaller, do some day-to-day tweaking, smaller tweaking, you can use cursor there. So for max productivity, many developers use hybrid approach that leverage the unique strength of both powerful tools. So I think that's the best way to go with them. And yeah, that's the conclusion here. Let's just quickly check what Claude has. Was Claude able to, fix the smart contract, the COTI? So we are basically doing a really daring job to create a complete, ERC20 by itself, not using the library from the COTI. So that's a complex task, and let's check if Claude is able to fix it or not.
But we asked it to look on the web, right? So the risk there is that it might just use any result from the web instead of COTI documentation.
Yeah, that's possible. And here we can help it with the documentation, and I can also, provide the prompt like use this library, but I don't want it. Like let's just try to find out if it can, figure it out by itself. It thinks it kind of find a repository by itself, as you can see, and it's now tweaking the contract. Let's just check if it's like it's going to clone the whole library, or use the whole library, or going to, take the suggestion from there and create a ERC20 token by itself or not. And then
For the sake of curiosity, you can type /cost and you can see how much you spent during the session using Claude Code. You can have a real-time feedback from the cost using /cost.
I think I need Henry for that. I don't have access for
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, you are right. I gonna be checking it, and we can share this in another Claude, live stream. We have also a live stream on the Claude again. We can share the result there. it's kind of completely changing the smart contract, but and it's kind of creating the whole ERC20 by itself, taking the suggestion all the way from the COTI ERC20, not using the library. I don't know why it's not, taking the library, importing the library in. It still have some errors. It's going to check in the, so as you can see, like for a developer, they can, with this there is an advantage, they can find out like what exactly it's doing, is like checking out the MPC core library, which is the right thing to do.
There is also an option with Cloud Code that you can switch from auto executing things and planning first using Shift Tab. You can switch from like the planning mode to auto executing mode.
Yeah, so I think here it provides you three options. Like if you want this, like it plans first in this chat, and then it gives me three options here. it it's not
Yeah,
quite.
you can also, I mean, plan everything first and interact with the plan before you start executing it, right? If you
Yeah,
want to,
so
for example, remove some things that you don't want just to avoid spending tokens, you can remove some items from the list, for example, right? And then you can approve the plan. Once you have a plan, you can approve it
yeah,
and start executing it. It's pretty cool way
I
to
think that's
reduce
what
the
I was,
number of tokens.
that what I was talking about. Like that's why Claude is for the, a developer who can plan, who
Yeah.
is able to plan, right? For the beginners, like difficult what they want, like to plan out the whole code and the code base, or we can say the folder structure and all. And but how can we do that? Like we need to press the shift and then
Shift tab,
shift tab. Yeah, it has a plan mode.
plan mode on.
Yeah, accept edit on. Okay. So here with the plan mode, I think it gonna be using less token for the planning, and then we can move to the execution mode, right?
Yeah, but I noticed that by default, sometimes Cloud Code added a lot of things. I don't know it's on purpose to spend more token. I'm kidding, but you can like see the entire plan, for example, and ask to remove things to not like spend like to be more cheaper, right? To create the application. Maybe in the future we can see like the total cost or the estimation cost before executing, right? It would be really nice to have, for example,
Yeah,
the cost of my application, the cost of the plan, right? Before executing it. But for now, it's really cool. I usually ask for removing some items before executing things, just to have like a simple so MVP solution, right? A simple solution before adding more complexity. Uh, so this is my experience with Cloud Code, like using plan mode first, interacting with the plan to remove some things that I don't want,
yeah,
or also to ask the Code to change some tasks, for example, and then approve it. Um, and then Cloud Code starts like to executing the tasks for me, right?
yeah. And as we can see, like Claude was able to compile the contract, and it's now deploying it and running the test cases. And it already says this is the contract address. Let's check. Yeah, sorry. As we can check here, the contact has been deployed in 20 seconds ago. So as we can see, it's not using the library. It kind of created the ERC private token by itself, and it's compiled and working properly. So that was a complex task, to create a whole private ERC token on the using MPC library of the COTI, which is a newer technology. So Claude was able to do that. Cursor took the smarter way and used the library. And let's check if it has deployed it on the. This is the contract address. Says it has deployed. Let's just try to check. Okay, no, it was the earlier one. Okay, just try to check this contract, like if it's on the testnet or not. No, this contract that is not present on the testnet. So what we gonna do? That so Davi, I like you have used Claude for any projects, or what was your experience?
On my experience, I have used it for creating, new projects from scratch. It's in that case, I mentioned I have used the plan mode first, but it's also I have used it to fix, for example, some issues with the current code. It also helps me with that when I already have my repository already created with my code there. We can start asking to, have an analysis of the current situation of the repo in terms of code quality, for example. By the way, Code Cloud has a way to integrate with the GitHub, and you can execute a code quality check, for example, each time that you create a pull request, for example. Similar to what, for example, Sonar Cloud does. You can do something similar, but using the AI, right? Using the Cloud Code AI. So for that, it's also very useful. I have used it to improve my code, right? To detect some issues and then improve it using the Cloud Code. The only downside is actually the cost, because if you are starting using it in, for example, integrating with GitHub each time that you like create a pull request, also it will cost you some money to do that. But yeah, I think if you are a developer, maybe you want to use more like terminal solutions like that. It's my personal preference, and also because you can add everything as a code, right? For example, you can create a Claude MD file, a Markdown file that will remember that helps the Claude Code to remember the context of that current folder. You can ask the Claude Code to create that Claude MD file, or you can even create it by your own. That the Claude you read this context to help you remember the best practices, for example, to follow. It's like a README file, but specifically for Claude, right? And one experience that I had also was like creating commands. You can create custom commands, adding MD files as well. And when you type like slash, you can add more options. You have by default some, pre-existing options, that Claude Code gives you, but you can also create new one, right? And also, but it's something more advanced. I mean, that's the possibility of creating sub agents. You can create agents using Claude Code as well. Uh, for example, you can create one agent that allows you to be, for example, a COTI front end engineer, right? And you can add to this agent all the context that this engineer should follow in terms of using COTI ethers instead of ethers library, and adding a lot of more, details, right? And you can reference these agents in your prompt using the symbol, right? And you can delegate the prompt to this agent work on this task for you, right? The same thing for example, if you want to create an agent that will be responsible for the backend, you can have a front end, a backend. You can create like an entire team using sub agents and adding it, referencing it in your prompts, right? But it's as I mentioned, everything is a code, right? You are basically creating markdown files, and you can push those markdown files to the repository so other team members can reuse the same configuration, right? Using code, right? So I understand it's more like specific, or probably developers will probably like more to work with the terminal. uh, it's not so user friendly for, beginners. I mean, if I'm a beginner, we'll probably start with Cursor using the IDE integration because it's more simple, right, to start with. But as you have more, knowledge, and you want to improve your productivity using command lines, you probably would like to go and work and play with the Cloud Code. At least my my experience with it.
Okay, so as I already tried to fix some issues here with the cursor. Basically, what happens here? Cursor deployed the contract uh, in the test in the local network set up by the Hardhat. So while listening you, Davi, it was a complex feature you talk about, like agents are providing other agents the task. Now if we come to the cursor, what cursor has done, so if we check, it kind of created a perfect contract for us. It's using the proper libraries, and it's also using the ownable library. This is making all the checks, for the security, because we for the security purpose we need to use the libraries. We don't need to write all the code by itself. Also, we can use the ownable library to provide the proper access to the person who can access the particular functionality. So here I think the contract, if we compare the contracts, Cursor has created a proper contract in case of COTI, and it also provided us a documentation in the, as I asked, like proper comments. So if a person who is new in the development and a person who don't know development and wants to wipe code, he can understand what all this functionality can do and what the loophole can be possible. If you know your function, completely, like how anyone can enter in your contract. So here the cursor has done a really great job. Talking of the cloud, uh, it has taken a bigger task by itself, created the whole contract, ERC20 contract by itself, with the private ERC20 contract. It's provided as the documentation, but I think for if a person who don't have, is a beginner, is going to be feel it complex, because this is a complex MPC code written by the Claude here. But it has completed the code and created this complex functionality using the MPC library by itself. So here, dealing with the complexity, Claude wins, and it was able to deploy the contract by itself on the testnet, because there are some times some RPC issue comes with, where you need to handle the block blocks are not fine, latest blocks are not fine, error. But Claude has dealt with it by itself, but cursor is stuck here. You know, cursor got stuck here. You can see it is giving the pending block error, and I already asked it to try again, but not solving it. So I think here I need to help it. Like, don't fetch block and go with fixed fee, otherwise it's going to be in the loop, and not going to find out the solution by itself. Maybe within 4 or 5 iteration it can find. So it needs some help here. So whenever things got quite complex, it is not finding out solution by itself because of the context window. I think, as we can see that both of them are using the Sonnet 4, so the model is same. It's just difference between the app, the Claude Code, how Claude Code is handling the context, and how Cursor is handling the context. So here we can clearly see the difference between that. But as we can see how you can interact with the COTI MPC library and COTI private contracts, COTI code, here you can do it with the Claude and the Cursor both. They can, it's by themselves, understand and find out the code and solution by themselves. As you can see in my prompt, there were no any suggestion regarding the repositories, no any suggestion regarding the documentation. I didn't even try to help them with the code. I just asked about the COTI blockchain, and they are trying to figure out to build a private token itself. So I think using both the tool, you can create a proper contract of the COTI. And I think this time it is able to deploy the contract. Let's just try to check if it's on the testnet or not. Yeah, it shows contract was deployed 20 seconds ago. So yeah,
Nice.
as you can see, with a little help, it was able to do that. So it was a clear difference between them. But I think both of the tool can handle the COTI blockchain contact itself very, very, very easily. You just need to provide the proper context. I already created a here, complete video on the Cursor AI, how you can, provide the. There are also a very great feature of the Cursor AI. I already discussed in 2 videos. I don't want to discuss in depth in this video, but there are features like you can also add the docs here. Like I have documentation here regarding the COTI dog and GitHubs, so they can index it properly and provide it proper context. But I didn't use all these features here to properly have a proper comparison between them. So there is also cursor rule. I already discussed so many times in my previous live stream. You can go and check it out. And now talking about the conclusion, I left. Where's the conclusion? Let me find it out. Yeah. The choice between Cursor AI and Claude isn't about which is better, but which is right for the task I have. So it just depends on the task in your hand. Okay. Your ideal workflow, project complexity, and personal preference will guide your decision. The maximum productivity, consider a hybrid approach. As I already discussed, hybrid approach will take you away in the coding because cost matters, not for the I think companies or enterprise, but if you are a developer and if you are learning AI, it's going to matter for you. So everything depends, and everything is relatable for that, according to that. So that's all from my side. What I want to listen, like what our co-hosts want to say about both the tools.
So in terms of, if you're looking at just the power of the model, let's say you have the same opportunity. Let's say you can put it to work via Cursor as well. It's just you also have the benefits of using Cursor, is my perspective here. I mean, if that's why I was interested in the approach from Cursor, where you can choose which automatic model selection it has, to see if it would actually optimize in terms of potential expenses, or choosing a different one to optimize for the specific task. I would actually be interested if you were to give it the task of creating a smart contract, if it would select a different model than Claude deliberately, and why. But maybe that's a different experiment. So yeah, you mentioned in the comparison in the beginning that also the opportunity for you got a checkpoint, I think, in the code with Cursor. I thought you could do the same with Claude, but please correct me here.
No, that's not possible with the Claude. That's what I said. Like a person who I come across an article, a person who is creating a complete project using the Claude. He is using Claude in the last complex functionalities, but to handle this, he's using the kit by himself manually
Okay, to export it every
for
time
each
he's
prompt,
satisfied.
which is very hard to do manually. So, and I think there is uncertainty in the market right now, which model is going to outperform which one. So maybe like Claude started lagging behind, and a person who has taken a yearly package of Claude going to be stuck there with the Claude. But if person has taken the Cursor's yearly model, he can switch easily between the models. So it's also the flexibility. And what do you think, like Kate and Calvin? Anything you guys want to?
Well, for me, if I were to use it, I'll probably using Cursor. In my level of things, I'm still at V0 and Lovable, though, I would say.
Okay.
Not after the next meetup. No. Okay. Having said that, I would ask you, Pendra, could you shed perhaps a little bit of light on your expectations of the next sessions, as they will have a similar setup like this?
Yeah. So in the next session, we are going to also deep dive into the Gemini CLI. So there are so many tools in the market. So I think we need to have a hands-on on all the tools, because we don't know which model going to be outperform which one, and which model is going to be good fit for you. Like you maybe have it have some feature which like by you, as I said, maybe someone going to like the Claude. It's just really clean for them. It just needs some help in the complex functionality, so they can use the Claude. So it's going to be the similar interesting features, how these tools going to be compared with each other. And we're going to be comparing on this tool, and also with the informations and the knowledge from the previous live stream, we're going to be comparing all the tools on stage.
All of them. That's a big promise. Okay. But we'll definitely get there. The new one's coming out every week.
All 100.
But having said that,
all 100 of them that Cursor has.
Yes. Yes. We'll talk more about them as well on the Friday chat, community chat, where everyone, of course, can join. For now, I'd like to thank you, Upendra, Davi, Kit, Calvin, all for joining. As Upendra mentioned, Thursday we'll have our next broadcast, in which we'll discuss the comparison with Gemini's CLI. We'll have a Friday broadcast again, and then we'll be back next week after. So again, thank you all for joining today, and see you next time. Stay COTI.
Stay COTI.
Stay COTI. Bye.